It is a pleasure to welcome to the show Katie Vahle, Arizona State women's goalie coming out of New York. Katie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Katie, I'd love to hear the story of when you first jumped into goal. Do you remember that?
So I started playing lacrosse when I was like 5 years old, like kindergarten, and then probably like first grade I started playing goalie. I was in like half games and stuff, and then third grade I just was goalie all around, just stuck to it.
Yeah. What was it about the position that really drew you in?
I don't know. I think it just came very natural to me, and I was very good like as an outfielder and stuff. But just something about being in the cage was very, very natural. I was a lot better at it.
Yeah. Did you always have like quick reaction speed, or like what was so natural? Or you were just used to balls being
Yeah.
thrown at you?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just a reaction thing, and I think it was just a lot of fun for me as it is. And
Mhm.
I don't know. I just decided to stick with it, and it got me here. So
Here we are. Now here we are.
yeah,
That's pretty cool. So you're growing up, like, is it on Long Island? Are you a Long Island native or
yeah,
some other
yeah. I'm a
parts of
Long
New York?
Island kid.
Yep, Long
Long
Island
Island
kid.
kid. Yeah,
Pretty intense hotbed of lacrosse. You know,
yeah.
when
Super
you
competitive.
super competitive. There was someone in a Facebook group I'm in the other day, and they're like, how do I find a lacrosse coach in Long Island? And someone's like, just ask someone at a bagel store, like,
Yeah, they're everywhere.
yeah. Anyway, once you figured out like I'm pretty good at this lacrosse goalie position, how did you go about like learning how to make saves, learning the position?
You know what? I played hockey too, so I played hockey as a goalie, and I kind of just took stuff from like other sports and like put it into lacrosse, and I think that kind of helped me out a lot. And I was just always in a cage somewhere, and just my brother played lacrosse, so him and his friends were like, "Katie, get in the cage," and they were like ripping shots on me. I'm like, but yeah, and it was just like a lot of fun for me, and I think that that's like the most important part to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So ice hockey goalie or field hockey goalie?
So I played deck hockey. It's just like on your feet. It's like called like floor hockey too, and then I played roller hockey.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah,
But that like as a goalie in that sport is like you're fully padded up and it's kind of more
yeah,
like the ice hockey goalie style.
yeah. It's a lot more like with your hands and stuff. It's the same thing as ice hockey, but it's a lot
Mhm.
like using your hands, using your body, and I think that that kind of goes in the way that I play lacrosse too. I like to just step in front of it and save it no matter what the cost.
Yeah, that's awesome. But that's certainly like that type of goalie, even though maybe the way you make saves is a little different, it's certainly like the angles and like being in
Yeah.
the right position is very like translatable, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's like reaction time and all that stuff. You got to be super quick.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I remember playing indoor soccer goalie, and I never played before, but just using my lacrosse training and experience and knowing about angles and the quickness. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a pro league, but I probably could have played in it. No, maybe not. What about like some early sticking points, some early things that you had to go through as a lacrosse goalie? Like, were you afraid of the ball? Did other stuff come to mind?
Um, I wouldn't say that I was afraid of the ball when I was younger, but once I was in like eighth grade and I had my first year on varsity, like that's when I was a little bit scared of the ball thing because the kids were like, the seniors were 5 years older than me at that point, and I was playing against some legit players like Kelsey Huff. Like they're insane, insane players. The shots were very fast and like very hard. So when they would hit, you'd be like, you'd feel it for
Yeah.
sure. So, but I grew out of it pretty fast. But just that one little period of like the beginning of like my high school career, that was definitely a little bit of a rough spot.
Yeah. I was going to ask about that situation of being an eighth grader and playing on varsity, because it can be really tough mentally, right? Like it could be a really tricky
Oh, for
situation.
sure.
Yeah, it could be a really tricky situation where you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough to play with these girls that are so much older. What advice do you give to a goalie who's going through that situation or about to?
I would say just stick it through. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust how much effort you kind of put in to getting to where you are. And, if you're going to do it, you're doing it for a reason. And if you make the team, you're on it for a reason. And somebody believes in you out there. And I think that it's kind of more of like a mental thing. I think that it's really, really important to trust yourself and trust your abilities.
Yeah, 100%. Right. And that's what confidence is all about, is like trusting yourself and trusting your abilities. You've put in all this work, right? And the human mind is so fragile, or like you give up a couple goals, or like you have a bad game, and now all of a sudden you're like, well, I'm not a good goalie. And it's like, wait a minute. Yeah, you are. Like, we have bad games. It's just trust those hours and hours of training that you put in, right? And get out there and do it. Yeah. What is your favorite part about being a lacrosse goalie, Katie?
I've always thought about that question too, but I think it's just like being that last line of defense and like making a huge save, and your team is just like, let's go. And like, everyone's really hyped up. And I think just like being able to like make a save, transition it up the field, and like maybe get a goal. I think that that's a huge aspect to it. I think just like supporting your team from that backside is like, it's a great feeling.
Yeah, it really is a great feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Too bad in the women's game that the lady goalies cannot score their own goals.
It's so unfortunate. We've tried so many things when I was younger to get around it. We've done like stick swaps. I've thrown at my helmet, my stick on the sideline, put a pair of goggles on, grabbed the stick and tried to do it. And the refs were just like, no.
Wait a minute. So you'd make a save, sprint over to the sideline, like, give me the other gear.
Yeah.
Run back onto the field and try and score.
Yeah. I would like pass it off to a teammate, run to the sideline, give me a stick. And then I would go down the field. We've tried so many things, but I think the refs kind of enjoyed how creative we could get.
That is pretty good. It kind of reminds me, like Charlotte North takes the draws, and then she like switches sticks with her teammate. Like that would be you, Katie. You like make the save, switch all the gear, and then run down there and score.
Yeah.
All right. Well, one day we got to petition the rules committee. There's no reason goalies shouldn't be able to score.
I know. I've talked to my other goalies at ASU about it too. And we're like, what are some ways that we feel like it would be okay? We're saying like, if a goalie's behind like that 30-yard line and they can put one in, I feel like that's totally fair.
Totally. I mean, like the idea is that the stick is illegal because it has like depth, right? But it's not like it provides that much of a shooting advantage when compared to the other women's sticks.
Oh yeah, there's no way.
All right, let's petition the rules committee. You and I. How do you describe your style of play? When I look at some pictures, it seems like you're on the shorter side. Yeah.
Oh yeah, very short.
What are we talking about?
So I'm 5'2", so I'm really, really small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you in terms of arc play and like using that height to your advantage? Like, how do you describe how you play?
I would say I'm very untraditional. I'm a very untraditional goalie, and I'm very active. Like I like to I don't really think I follow like a 7-5 or like 3-step arc. I like to just kind of run around in the crease and almost act as like that 8th defender and kind of cut off a lot of passes. Like I'll even like pick up a girl in the 8th. I would say it's very untraditional, and some people kind of like it. Some people are like, absolutely not, but it works for me. And I think that that's kind of the best way to go about it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I'm a huge advocate. I mean, I'm 5'8", so like on the men's side, I'm not as tall either. And I'm a huge advocate of like using your quickness and using your speed and using the attributes that you were given to be a better goalie. And whether that means like running out and grabbing a ground ball or picking off a pass, something that I think shorter, quicker goalies are better at. And don't get me wrong, there's big goalies who are great at too, but use what you've got, use what you're given, and be the best goalie you can be.
For sure.
Yeah. You agree with that?
Yeah, I totally agree.
All right. So I like to hear. I'm trying to get more Pac-12 games. I do these save edits, and the Pac-12 is a little bit stingy with their video. So I'll be honest, I haven't watched many Arizona State games, but I will next season.
Okay.
It sounds like I missed you being defensive player of the week 3 or 4 times this season.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
I mean, like, to make history my first year in a program, like, that's just insane as it is. And as like a freshman, everyone was like very, very supportive, the players, the parents, the coaches and stuff. It was just like a great feeling to be able to like bring a little bit of like light to like a newer program and kind of give it like that space that it should have and like get the attention that it deserves.
Yeah, I love that. But backing up a little bit, you know, you start to play varsity as an 8th grader. Amazing accomplishment, right? I imagine you have some success at high school, like throughout all of those years. You know, when did you start to think about playing lacrosse at the next level?
I mean, I've always thought about it. Once I started to take it like very serious when I was younger, probably around like 4th, 5th grade, I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life, and I'm gonna go into college. I'm gonna go play D1, and that's always been like the big dream of mine.
Interesting. So from that young of an age, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there a certain point where you had to like give up other sports and really focus on being a goalie?
Yeah. So in 10th grade, I played field hockey 7th through 9th. And then I kind of gave that up 10th grade once it started to become a little bit more serious and a little bit harder and stuff. Teams were getting better and stuff. So I kind of gave that up for a little bit. And then I went back my senior year. But I would say that was kind of more to like I played that sport to keep my agility up. I played forward. So I was like an attacker. I scored goals. I ran up and down the field. But I kind of gave that up and kind of pushed it to the side in order to focus on lacrosse. But
yeah, that reminds me of I actually didn't play lacrosse in high school. Wrestling was my main sport, and I played soccer as well. But that was like mostly just to get in shape for wrestling and like keep me active. Because I don't know, like there's just something about training with a team that just allows you to push yourself way further than if I was training by myself.
Yeah,
I don't know if
I agree.
way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's interesting. So how did Arizona State come into the picture? Because that's, you know, it's interesting, you know, a girl from Long Island coming out to, I don't even know if you call it the West Coast, but let's call it the Pac-12, a newer program, like you said. What was it about that school? And tell me a little bit about your recruiting story.
So my recruiting story, it's kind of funny. So Coach Tim McCormick, he had reached out on September 1st, and I kind of shut him down a little bit. I was like, yeah, no, I'm okay. Like, and he was like, all right, I'll check in a couple of days. And then he ended up calling me again. He was like, just come check it out. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'll go see it. I went there, and the coaching staff, like between Tim McCormick, Dorian Van Dyke, and Nicole Graziano, like they're easily like the best coaches that I could have asked for. They were amazing people. And they kind of took a chance on me, and I took a chance on them to go out west and kind of start with a newer program. It's a little bit different for me because I'm used to being like a top program with like high school. Like we were one of the top in the country. With travel, we were like a big force. And so I think it was kind of cool to kind of start fresh and start with a program that was a lot newer, and you know, we're making it up there.
Yeah. Now, when we talk about a lot newer, what are we talking about?
I think the last season was 5 years that the program's been there.
So it's been there 5 years. So like they just graduated, or maybe a year ago, graduated like the first class that had been with the pro. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty new. That's awesome. Yeah. What did you do to get on their radar, the coach's radar?
I mean, I went to a lot of like tournaments that had coaches there, showcases and all that type of stuff, camps. And I think that, I don't know, just kind of putting yourself out where like there's a ton of coaches, and like all those coaches are East Coast kids, like Coach McCormick and Dorian Van Dyke, like they're from Long Island. So Coach McCormick, he was at my Long Island championship, and he had seen me play there, and he was just like, you know, I want that kid. And that's something that he told me that sticks with me.
That's awesome. After the game, he told you that?
No, he told me that a couple of weeks ago, actually.
I got you.
Yeah, he never
Gotcha.
wanted to tell me, but he was like, "I'm gonna tell
He was
you."
holding
This
it.
is,
He was holding it in.
yeah,
Huh? He's like, I
yeah,
got to tell you something. All right. So to get on the radar, be from Long Island and be a good goalie. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. No, a lot of goalies ask me that, but there's certainly other ways to get
for
recruited
sure.
and get on coaches' radars. You don't have to be an elite goalie from Long Island. It helps, but there's other routes. Were there other schools you were considering?
Yeah, I was considering Stony Brook. That was like a big dream of mine since I was very young. Coach Spolino, he was a great guy. And just like being home and like being in a top program, like that was caught my eye a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But once I went to like Arizona, it was just like the weather was perfect and the team, they were like full of amazing, amazing people. And so I think that kind of like just drew me in so much.
Yeah. I talked to Stony Brook goalie Charlie Campbell. I don't know if you know her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome. She was talking about how like Long Island lacrosse, a little bit different, a little bit just a different style of lacrosse, like a little bit more attitude. I don't know, maybe a little more physical.
Yeah.
Did you, when you got to Arizona, maybe you were surrounded by other Long Islanders, including a Long Island coach, so maybe it was the same, but did you notice like, oh, these girls are playing a little bit different?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's still the same game essentially, but you could tell that it's definitely a lot different than Long Island. A little bit of the rules seem to be a little bit switched up and stuff, but I mean, it's still essentially the same game, but it's definitely a different pace than Long Island lacrosse, just
Mm-hmm.
because, it's still like a newer game out west and they're still, taking part and growing the game, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you earned the starting role as a freshman, which, after this 8th grade on the varsity might not be like a big deal for you, but it seems like a big deal for me. Like in terms of, not often does a freshman come in and earn that starting role, right?
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you?
I mean, it was amazing, honestly. Like all the older girls, they were very like supportive and like always backed me up. And they were always kind of like gave me a little oomph when I needed it. And I mean, even the other goalies, like I was just expecting to come in and just, learn my first year. And then, like I said, coach saw something in me and he was like, want her in. And, I was super, super fortunate and so lucky to have like an amazing team behind me who was very, supportive and kind of had my back no matter what.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. First game, if I'm not mistaken, Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Big time powerhouse program, right? Established program.
Yeah.
You get the start, freshman. Talk to me about the nerves that you've got going into that game.
I mean, it was intense. It was also a very strange situation because the day prior we were sitting in an airport for 8 hours, and then we played Michigan at 10 p.m. like in an
At
indoor
night.
place. Yeah, it was very, very strange. And
Wow.
but I mean, it was an amazing experience. So my parents were there; they got to see me go, and I think it kind of proved a little bit to everyone else's parents, like, oh, like the kid can actually keep up with everyone, and I can hold my own in there.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, you guys played Michigan and then you played Northwestern. So you're like bang, bang, like two
Yeah,
amazing teams to start off the season. So yeah, just kind of cool. But you held your own. You held your own. I mean, I think they're close games. Michigan 9-11, Northwestern 8-16. So pretty close. But
yeah.
then you guys had a really good run through the Pac-12. What would you say is your favorite game, or maybe the best game that you thought you played?
My favorite game. I think the first time we played Colorado was probably one of my favorite games because that game was just like the energy was like through the roof, and just like to be able to have that much fun with everyone was just like an amazing experience. Like you could tell that everyone was genuinely having fun, and it was good to see like some of my other freshmen kind of go in and play with them, score goals or get assists or do whatever. So that was really cool.
Yeah, it is. It is so cool to see your teammates have fun, right? And everyone plays better when you do.
Oh yeah.
Um, How do you, as a goalie, as like, I don't know, would you call yourself a leader of the team?
I would say that I'm one of the younger leaders. Yeah, I would
Mhm.
say that, because I have a lot of experience and stuff, I would say that there's a good amount of people who kind of take in my IQ and what I know about the game for sure.
Yeah. How do you encourage that level of fun? How do you, because at a certain point, like, it becomes a job, it becomes
Yeah.
work, right? And you start to stress about it, or, just not have fun, and you don't play as well. So when or your teammates like enter into that situation, what do you say? What do you do?
I mean, we try and keep it very like lighthearted and stuff. And we score a goal, like all the defenders will come in and we'll have a little chat, we'll laugh a little bit, make some jokes, and then we'll try and, just keep it rolling and keep the intensity high and just keep energy up. And, it's always good when you look over at the sideline and they're all cheering and they're doing like celebrations and stuff and chants and whatever they're doing. It's kind of just to keep it like very lighthearted and very fun and just laugh throughout the way, because that's the only way that, I feel like you really get better and truly have fun with the game.
Totally. Yeah, that's awesome. What do you do? Do you have like a sort of pregame ritual?
Um, I don't know. I kind of just, there's music in the locker room. I like to dance around and stuff with everybody else. I do some eye black and stuff and get my hair braided. And I would say that that's kind of it. I like to keep it very, very easy. I don't really like to put like headphones on or anything, because I think it's better to be with my team and kind of,
Mhm.
connect with all of them.
Love it. You got a specific eye black design that you go with each
Yeah.
time, or you mix
Yeah.
it up?
I do like a line under here and then I do like two lines down.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. Um, awesome. I love that. What about, Katie, when you give up a goal? A tough situation as a lacrosse goalie, it happens, obviously, but it's just never like a pleasant situation. Do you have like some sort of routine that you go through when you give up a goal?
Um, if it's a goal that I feel like I should have had, I'll kind of go back to that spot and see what maybe I could do different. Maybe it was just like my reaction time. Maybe I was off on an angle or something. But most of the time, I just like to talk to my defenders and kind of see where the girl came from, where'd she shoot, like all that type of stuff. And we kind of figure it out as a group instead of just individually.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that I heard, so I forget who, someone on the podcast say. It's like if they miss, like let's say it's off stick high, they miss it, they get scored there. They'll just do that save movement one more time. It's kind of like tennis players do it sometimes too, when they like hit one into the net. They'll just like do that movement again to like re-up that muscle memory and know like, all right, I got that one next time. But yeah, I love that concept too of just like being with the team, right? It's a team game, and a lot of times goalies take it on themselves a little too hard.
Yeah, I agree. I
Um,
think it's the total mental thing with goalies. It's like one goes in and you're like, man, like I should have had that, or, I'm letting my team down or whatever. So I think honestly being with the team and kind of just like figuring out start to finish how the goal went in, I think that kind of helps kind of ease the like nerves and stuff. And like, at the end of the day, it's everyone on the field that like let the goal in, not just us.
yeah. What would be an example of that? Where you figured it out as a team.
Um, just like after a goal, bringing into like a little huddle and just like having a little chat and be like, okay, where'd the ball come from, or where'd she drive from? Where was the slide? Could we, have bodied her up? Did we need a slide, or just anything like that? Or like, could I have cut off this pass in the middle? Because I always tell my defenders, I'm like, if there's a girl in the middle, like, and no one can get to her and she's right in front of the crease, let me know, because and just in case I don't see her, because those are easy cutoff passes that I can get, and I don't mind coming out for like a couple seconds picking up a girl until somebody could get there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was just trying to think in my head what that could be. That works out really well. When you get to Arizona State, would you say your goalie game changed?
Um, I would say it changed a little bit. I wouldn't say it changed a lot, but it definitely changed a little bit with like coming out a little bit more or coming out a little bit less, depending on what teams I see, what players they have, and just coming like it's a new defense and a new like way that they play defense. It's like a zone backer that we play. So that was a little bit of a change up because I'm so used to playing like man defense and stuff. So it was a little bit of a change, but I think honestly, I was able to adjust pretty quickly.
Yeah. Love it. What about your goalie training regimen? Like what do you do to get better? Is it a lot of shots? Are there a lot of like situational drills? Like what does a week of practice look like for you, Arizona State?
I would just say it's a lot of shots. We do like warm up shots, and sometimes we like to play spike ball beforehand as our warm up, which is
Oh,
always a lot
spike
of fun.
ball.
Yeah, yeah, we're big on the spike ball. Me and my other two goalies, we love it. Sometimes we have like a football we'll throw around, just the whole team in general. But usually we just do like a bunch of shots, and then we kind of get into it and just play with our team. We let them fire a bunch of shots on us. We use tennis balls a lot too, which we love to do.
Yeah. I haven't played much spike ball. I've played it a couple times. For those that have no idea what we're talking about, it's kind of like this little like trampoline, like a small little trampoline that like sits on the ground, and you got to hit the ball off the trampoline, and then the other team needs to like, it's like volleyball. Do you get 3 touches?
Yeah, 3 touches.
Yeah, like volleyball, you get 3 touches, and
Yeah.
then you have to hit it back on the trampoline, and then you
Mhm.
just keep going like that. I feel
Yeah.
like there's some elements of like just kind of reading the situation and kind of reading, their body language of where they're going to shoot and
Yeah.
anticipating that translate right into lacrosse goalie. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you gotta like kind of follow where the ball goes. You have to have some quick reaction times because they could just spike it right down, and you got to be ready to just throw a hand
Yeah,
up or throw your body in front of it.
it's true. They could spike on 2, and not go for
Yeah.
that third hit.
Yeah, they can even throw it right back if they want to. Like it's a lot of fun once you're good at it.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, play some more spike ball. What about, was there a time when you went through a slump? And if so, like, how did you get out of that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, there was one weekend, I think it was the first time that we played Stanford and Cal. I think it was like in March or something. And that weekend I was not able to get there. Stanford, they absolutely lit me up. And it was just like a lot of high shots. And I was just like, I can't get there. Like I can't get there to my coach. I was like, I can't get there. I was like, I don't know what to do. So, I mean, that weekend was not my weekend for sure. But the week after that, I kind of came back and, took practice very, very easy on myself and kind of just got back into it slowly. And by the next weekend, I was pretty much set.
There you go. Just work your way back into it, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. How about the mental game? The mental game, as lacrosse goalies, it's such an important aspect of our game. When I talk about mental toughness and the mental game, do any lessons come to mind?
I don't know about lessons, but I mean, yeah, I guess the lessons. I think that it's just like like I said, you have to trust yourself and you have to trust everyone around you. And I think I was always lucky enough to have like great coaches who, kind of were able to give me a little bit of a minute and then come back to me and be like, hey, you're good. And my teammates like very supportive. They're like, hey, you're good. Like, you're good. Just stay in it. It's one save at a time. It's one shot at a time. And I think that that's kind of, it's a good thing when you have, people who will help you out and kind of give you that little bit of a push that you need.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really important point, is just finding that support system of, whether it be your siblings or your parents or your teammates or your friends, those people that can give you that, that mental, I don't know, that mental push when you need it.
Yeah.
Super important. That's a great lesson. It's a great lesson. See? Well, very cool. I need to ask about this goalie head that I saw on your Instagram. It's like the Arizona State colors and custom dye. That thing's amazing. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So actually, my parents did that.
They did.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I had through high school, I had the same head. It was like a brick wall. It was super, super sick. One of my brother's friend's brother did it or something. It was so cool, but I was like, it's time to get a new one. So I was like, look, mom, dad, I'm gonna give you this task. Do whatever you guys want. I don't care what you do with it. Just make it look cool. Because I've never had just like a plain white head ever. I've never played it. Just I've always had it dyed. There's always been stickers or something on it. And so I was like, look, you guys got to do it. I don't care what you do. So they actually ended up making like 3 different heads, and they shipped them all to me. And I was like, it was sick though. And I think they they had a little bit of fun, even though they don't want to admit it.
Yeah. I'm looking at the brick wall one. So yeah, this one's awesome. It's like, looks like just a regular Eclipse, huh?
Yeah.
Head, and it's got the brick wall. And then this other one's the Eclipse II, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, looks good. And then number 0, not even number 0, 00. How come you chose 00?
I think when I was younger, I always had I had a couple numbers and stuff, and then I hit like this age where I was like, you know what, all these goalies that I really looked up to, I was like, they're 00. Like all these goalies, like I want to be 00. So then I ended up taking the 00, and then we could only have 10. So then I was 10 throughout high school, and then went to ASU, and I was like, look, I need 2 zeros. You guys got to save the jersey for me. That was one thing I told them on my recruiting process. I was like, I want to be 00. I was like, that's my number. I was like, they're like, all right, we'll save it for you. It's yours. You got it.
She drives a hard bargain. If we're gonna get her here, save 00.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It looks like from these pictures you got some tattoos on your arms. I'd love to hear the story of those.
So this is my mom's handwriting. This one right here. It just says love mom and dad. And then this actually has to do with lacrosse. It says, be confident with Hawaiian flowers. Before every game, this is one tradition that I have, but before every game, I'll like call my mom, or if she's there with me, she'll say be, and then I say confident. It's kind of something we've done ever since that I was like very, very little. So, because she knows that it's a very mental game, and she knows like you have to have that confidence in the cage.
That's awesome. How about on the other arm there?
Long Island, of course.
There you go. There you go.
That's like where I live. It's my town. And then this one's my birth year, and that's matching with my cousin, who she has the same exact one. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Well, Katie, thank you so much for joining the show, going through kind of your story, and I hope the goalies out there learn some things. What does the summer look like for you? What are you doing to train? Do you take some time off, or are you getting right back into it?
So I'm actually in a rehab program for my arms right now. I did get a little bit injured this season, but nothing crazy. So I'm kind of just doing that, working out, and then I like to have my mom shoot some tennis balls on me. I think that's a lot of fun. And then just training some of the younger goalies, which is a lot of fun, and coaching some teams here and there.
Oh, that's cool. So you do some coaching out there?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Love it. Love to hear it. Do we need to shout that out, or what? Can people train with you?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. How do they get a hold of you?
Instagram or Facebook. It's the same, just Katie_Vahle.
Katie_Vahle. All right. I'll link up to that when this comes out. Katie, if you had to leave the goalies out there with one last piece of advice, what would that be?
I would say have fun and trust yourself, trust your abilities.
All right. I love it. I want to try one more thing. Hey, Katie, be
confident.
There we go. All right. Thank you so much. Katie, that was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.